How do you check your national insurance record with HMRC? Go to Google and search for Check National Insurance Record. See the listing there and click on it, which brings us to this page. The purpose of checking your national insurance record is to identify if you're able to pay voluntary national insurance contributions to fill in any historical gap years you may have and how much this may cost you. It assumes you're based in the UK. If you're not in the UK, that's great, because it'll cost you only 20% of what people in the UK typically pay to make these voluntary contributions. We're assuming, of course, that you're eligible to pay for these past years and potentially years into the future up to state pension age of 67 approximately. Down at the bottom, click on Start Now. It brings us to the Government Gateway sign-in page. If I have my Government Gateway user ID and password, I sign in here. Otherwise, I create a new account down at the bottom. I get a text message to my international mobile phone number. I put that code in here and click on the green Continue button. Now let's have a look at the type of thing you'll see. Here's my national insurance number, and I can now check all my contributions that have ever been made. If you have ever been contracted out, meaning you may have worked in the UK for several years, perhaps for a large company, then you may have only paid a few years of national insurance contributions before stopping. So it's very important you check your record to see what years are missing. In the link in the middle, it says check your national insurance contributions. We click on this and it brings us to this page, which shows us what the deadline is to pay any voluntary contributions that we may choose to pay. It tells us how many years of contributions we've already paid, how many years we're able to contribute up until retirement age, and are there any particular years when we did not contribute enough. As an example, it shows me the number of years which are not full. They may be only partial. It really depends on your particular circumstances, so if we go down through it, then I can see all the various years where I'm missing gaps. The current UK state pension opportunity now also allows me to fill in those gaps from the later of either the 2006-2007 tax year or when I left the UK up until now. Depending on whichever is later, I'm then able to pay voluntary national insurance contributions from then until now. So here's a breakdown in terms of one particular year. I did not make any contributions that year, and so I'm allowed to make up the shortfall now. It tells me that I can pay a voluntary contribution of this amount by April of 2025. Note this £824 figure shown is what's known as a Class 3 or expensive contribution. But if you're outside the UK, you will typically be eligible for the much cheaper Class 2 rate, which is just over £160 per year, which makes it much cheaper for you in terms of topping up your historic voluntary contributions. Down at the bottom, you can print this national insurance record and keep it in PDF format, so it's always good to keep a copy with your records.